Good morning, everybody. Welcome into 104.3 The Fans Tea Time as we've got D-Mac, Rachel Vigil, and Jake Shapiro all hanging out with you on this Tuesday. It's going to be a fun show. We're talking Broncos in London. First of all, props to both of you guys. I just have the mug. You've got the little kettle. He's got the tiny teacup. You guys are awesome. But we're talking Broncos in London. Do the Broncos fans still have any trust in George Paton? Plus, we're going to get into some Nuggets talk. And then it's Tuesday, which means we've got trivia. So buckle in, everybody. Let's get to it, though. First of all, both of you, how are you? D-Mac, Jake?
Top of the morning to you. Mary Poppins.
Pip, pip, cheerio, D-Mac.
Chip, chip, cheerio. Chitty, chitty, bang, bang. Chitty. I said chitty.
You catch that banger of a match between Liverpool and Chelsea?
Oh, they're at the top of the table. Chitty, I said. Chitty, chitty, bang, bang.
Lawrence joining in the comments. Top of the morning, chaps.
Yeah, I was doing. It's got. I got some coffee over there because I can't. I really need my coffee, but I can.
Cheers, everybody. Welcome into Tea Time. We're happy to have you all. Lawrence, thanks for hanging out with us. Okay, let's get into it. Broncos, because it just seems like everybody's falling off the bandwagon right now. The train has come to a near stop with Broncos fans. So let's talk about what we actually learned when it comes to what we learned from the Jets game. And that's really that it has to do with a lot with Nathaniel Hackett, where we were putting a lot of the blame on Russ. But clearly, it's just not working out with the coaching staff, D-Mac.
Yeah, I guess it's not Russ. It's not completely Russ, obviously. And we did find that out. So, okay, fine. You know, Brett Rippon, see you later. You got to wonder, though, like, why do they even have Brett Rippon on the team? How did he beat out Josh Johnson? You know, how, why, who knows? But clearly, this is a virtual playoff game for the Broncos. There's, in my opinion, zero chance Russell Wilson doesn't play. And here we go.
Yeah, Josh Johnson was slinging the Duke last year when he was playing. Came in a couple times for the Jets, and he was in for the Ravens one time last year. So I don't know why Brett Rippon won the starting backup job. I mean, it makes sense to me why Josh Johnson was put through the practice squad because they were more likely to retain his services. But why not bump him up to the secondary quarterback once you knew going into a week that Russ wasn't going to be there? Yeah, I wrote this morning in my column, Russometer, every Tuesday morning on denverfan.com, that Russ's stock actually went up while sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
And D-Mac kind of theorized that this was going to be possible last week. I think that we are at the point with the Broncos, their offensive staff, George Paton, and all that surrounds Russell Wilson, that, hey, Russell Wilson's not been good in 2022. But you can't blame Russell Wilson for this season. Like, how can you get a fair assessment of what's happening on the field given the exact same issues persist when you put someone else in there? It looks the exact same.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what are listen, it's an interesting question about Russ. Is it really just a complete coaching meltdown, a terrible system? Is the offensive line coached by Butch Barry such a disaster that it can't really uphold anything? I think, you know, Wilson's had some poor moments, and I don't think he's in the type of shape he needs to be successful. And boy, oh boy, what did we see last night, guys? Justin Fields, who has been kind of an abject disaster so far in the NFL. However, look what happens with a little bit of experience and certainly a whole lot of athleticism. So to think that Justin Fields isn't getting better is ridiculous. And you know what's insane? We have heard so many times like, oh, Pat Surtain was such a great draft pick because look what they got later, as if we had a time machine. Okay, guys, fair question right now after last night. Who would you rather have moving forward, Justin Fields or Russell Wilson?
Justin Fields is the future. He's the future. Everyone laughed at me last week. I was going around the office going, hey, Bill Belichick said 1,000 words on how the Bears are really good. He wouldn't say 1,000 words if they were bad. I mean, it was a bit obviously, but and I picked the Patriots in the survivor pool. But let's go Bears. Like, that was awesome. That was a good win in Foxborough. And to answer your question, T-Mac, I'd still take Russell Wilson over Justin Fields because I'm not sure he can throw the ball more than 10 yards consistently. But I have now gone to the opinion that the Broncos should trade Bradley Chubb for a first-round pick, if they can, second and third round pick, probably more likely, but not for Sean Payton, so that they can draft a quarterback in the second or third round in next year's NFL draft.
No, Jake.
And I think that they should do that not only because it will be a cheap backup for Russell Wilson, but then you have a contingency plan moving forward, both for Wilson's injuries, which he seems to get injured all the time and their backups aren't going to cut it. And you have a cheap future moving forward at the position.
Oh, my God, Jake. Have you not learned anything from me? I mean, have you learned absolutely nothing? Never, ever, ever, never, ever draft a quarterback in the second or third round. Even the fourth round is a little bit of an eye roll to me, but there's a huge difference between the fourth and the second and third in terms of quality at other positions. So, I mean, okay, you could twist my arm. Bailey Zappi was a fourth-round pick, and I really liked him for the Broncos to select because the way I put it with the quarterback room, you have different roles for different guys. And all you had to be was better than Brett Rippon to justify being drafted later on to fit that particular role. So I think it's been a gross negligence by George Paton in particular over the past couple of years because he just has not been able to grasp how to develop quarterbacks. But Jake, a second-round quarterback, stop. My guy, I love you, but you got to be kidding me.
And we're getting away from the main, you guys. We're learning here that it's the coaching staff that is clearly not able to communicate with Russell Wilson or Brett Rippon to produce on the field. So, of course, D-Mac, to answer your question, you're going to go with Russell Wilson because you have 10-plus years of experience that you've seen. I know things have been bad this year. I know it. But how many good games has Justin Fields really had? Like, let's be honest here, people. Not that many. I know it's the new NFL. I've been preaching it too. All these younger quarterbacks are coming in. But you have to go with the maturity of Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. And we're going to get into George Paton because I don't think there's a lot of trust. But Jake, to go off of what D-Mac said, absolutely. I don't trust George Paton at all when it comes to this draft anymore. It makes me really nervous to think about it. So I don't think, and I don't, to be honest, I don't think you're getting a second or maybe a third round pick for Bradley Chubb. I can't picture a second round, and maybe that's just me.
Well, I think it was Schefter on your show, D-Mac, made the point that there was a player that was recently traded that he thinks is lesser than Bradley Chubb, who, by the way, you can franchise tag after the year, which is one of the things to consider of why he could get traded for more than Von Miller. But the whole thing with the quarterback for me is you look around the league, and unless you are one of three elite quarterbacks, the only teams winning have quarterbacks under rookie contracts that allow you to dedicate so much money elsewhere. There's two recipes for success in the NFL. And I am under the assumption that this coaching staff will not exist at the time the Broncos are drafting. George Paton, he's not going to get fired, at least in my opinion. Would I be surprised if he were fired? Honestly, no, because he's not the general manager for this ownership group. It's the same thing as the Hackett situation. And James Merilatt wrote about this Monday, and I agree with James, which I don't do often. This team does not just lack X's and O's. It lacks Jimmys and Joes. Like, this team is not deep, and I am honestly scared going into the second half of this season with the defensive injuries piling up the way they are because the defense has been so good. What's going to happen when we start seeing some of these second and third string defenders?
Well, we're going to get killed is basically the answer.
Aren't we kind of seeing them already? Not to cut you off, D-Mike, but aren't we kind of seeing it already because the Broncos have so many injuries?
Well, somehow they're still kind of holding up. I mean, when you give up 12 points, you should win. When you give up 16 points, you should win. When you give up such a low amount of points, there should be wins mixed in there. Rachel, to address like Justin Fields, what you said, okay, great. Maybe it's not a lot of success, but look what they're building towards. And by the way, when in doubt, if you can run around and get first downs, and that's what you can do on third down if you got a quarterback like that. That's what Hackett said was their big problem, third downs. Then you keep yourself in games, and eventually you will accumulate points. And that's what the Bears have done. And I don't see that train slowing down. Meanwhile, you got all sorts of problems there in New England. And you know, I think they have actually a pretty good strategy. They like Mac Jones. They took him in the first round, but they are backing him up with a deeper round quarterback so that you can get more quality players second, third round, or maybe even fourth round. Listen, Jake, you're well-intentioned on this, but I keep going back to it. You just don't have a future in terms of a long-term quarterback in the second or third round. And you also give up starters at other positions by doing that. But listen, what are we talking about here? We don't even have those kind of picks to deal with right now. So you have to trade Bradley Chubb for something. My fine feathered friend Mike Evans just wants to re-sign Bradley Chubb. And it's like, well, okay, you can do that too, but what the hell was your plan? Why did you sign Randy Gregory? Why did you draft Nick Bonito? Why have you developed Jonathan Cooper? If you believe in team building, well, look what you've done. And the problem with team building too, guys, before you have a quarterback, is by the time you build the team, they leave and you still don't have a quarterback. So what you need to do is commit to that quarterback and build around him. That's why I would never use a second or third round pick, Jake. You got Russell Wilson. You need to develop the pieces around him. You've got the quarterback for the next 4 years. At least you're committed to him. So, geez, unless you are a completely dysfunctional organization, drafting a quarterback in the second or third round it's bananas. It's a nutso idea.
I have a quick question. We've been talking about, we have to have Russell Wilson for 2 more years. D-Mac, you just said 4 years. Is there any chance that Russell Wilson fills out his 7 more years here?
7?
Did he have 7?
No.
Or is it 5?
You're on the hook for 4 years, kind of no matter what. And then I think even in the 5th year, Jake, and you can check my math, I think there's a $31 million cap hit even in year 5 that you may just have to suck up. But, I mean, you're talking about a cap hit if you dump them right now of like $85 million. Totally crippling amount for your team. No. You've got to give it a shot for the next 4 years, sadly, or at least 3 years. And maybe there can be some sort of Peyton Manning type of 4th year if you get a guy who can sort of replace him and build around him. But no, it's a tough situation, guys, period.
Yeah, to answer your question, D-Mac, it's through 2026. They're on the hook for an insurmountable amount of money. So he's here through at least 2026. But yeah, I mean, to contradict myself, I just said the Broncos don't have enough at other positions to support Russell Wilson. So yeah, you're dead on. If the Broncos get the draft capital, they should probably spend it elsewhere. But you've had historically, like Derek Carr was a 2nd round pick. Brett Favre,
Jake, don't play this game.
Jake,
don't play this game, Jake.
You're asking to find like one shiny penny in like
Jake, and how many years ago was Derek Carr? And if you like Jalen Hurts, fine. He's your other guy. I can go through them, okay, Jake? You know, I know them by heart. Andy Dalton, Dak Prescott in the 4th round. Okay. But just like, look, let's take a peek right now in the NFL, okay? You can go through the better teams, and hey, okay, good for the Eagles with Jalen Hurts. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. If these are starting quarterbacks for the teams, whether they're doing well or not, you're not finding 2nd round guys, Jake. I bet you don't even know who was drafted in the 2nd round of 2018. Kyle Lauletta, thank you. I don't even think he was drafted in the 2nd round. I don't know where he was taken. No, Jake, stop.
Let me ask you this. How many times in NFL history has a quarterback not been drafted by that team gone on to win a Super Bowl? I mean, we've had a couple recently. It's Brady, Stafford, Brett Favre is obviously in that discussion. I just think the concept for team building in the NFL is incumbent upon you drafting your quarterback.
Yes, and to get that quarterback, you've got to use as high of a pick as you possibly can. You don't. Listen, if your highest pick that you possibly can is in the 3rd round, you're in a world of hurt if you need a quarterback after that. And I mean, I guess to your point, if you use the first pick you have on a quarterback, it's a priority for your organization. But what have you done to get yourself in that situation? It's pathetic. So trading Bradley Chubb because you got an eye on a backup quarterback to Russell Wilson is like a death spiral, Jake. It's just not gonna work. It's not gonna work. But Listen, I have expended so much time, effort, and energy on this particular topic over the years. The degree of "I told you so"s in my favor are absurd. And you can torture yourself by going to denverfan.com, and I've got a whole podcast about it. It's like 8 episodes long. It's like 4 hours about talking about every minutia of this particular situation. So yes, you can trigger me and get me going and all fired up. But if you really want to take a deep dive into what I really truly believe and why, it's on denverfan.com. You can go to it any way you want. DMAC, A Relentless Life Pursuing Quarterbacks, which is a satire of the biography on John Elway of Relentless Life of Football, or some sort of. There's a book about John Elway. Did you guys even know that? Probably not.
Yeah, of course there's a book about John Elway.
That's not surprising at all. Okay, Jake, let me ask you this question. Say they do trade Bradley Chubb for a second and a third. Do you trust Peyton enough after what you saw out of this past draft class to go out there and say, oh, he's going to find us the next franchise quarterback to lead this team to multiple Super Bowls?
No!
Yeah. Well, whichever way points in the right direction. Yeah. Well, exactly what he did. No, I don't.
So then why? Why even have the discussion?
Rachel,
I don't know.
I'll agree with you. I've said, here's what I would. I mean, listen, there's short-term solutions and big umbrella solutions. My big umbrella solution, I'll say it again. You if you're the Walton Penner ownership group featuring, Melody Hobson, Condoleezza Rice and Lewis Hamilton.
Sure,
why not put them all in there, by the way? Why aren't the initials all those people? It's the WPO Lewis LHMHCR group. Well, you got to add 2 more initials to that. PM. And if you really want to have some saucy fun, PFM. And that is what you do. You buy Omaha Productions for $1 billion, and maybe they can figure out StreamYard as well as us. They have not mastered that, by the way. We do this better in communication than they do, which is amazing. Good for us, I suppose. Bad for them. Boy, can they get that thing straightened out? They don't know what they're doing. It's funny and everything, but when will they learn when to talk and when not to talk on that stupid show? All right, that being said, you buy it for $1 billion. You give Peyton Manning some sort of ownership interest, or he buys into it. He's the owner, president of football, whatever title you want, and then you let him reshape it in his image, and he will be hands-on. The dude, for the 5th time in a row on that Manning cast, they highlighted last night how he coaches his 11-year-old football team, and he's not even the head coach; he's the offensive coordinator. So listen, I understand spending time with your kids, but talk to Orlando Franklin about the passion they have for that, little kid football team, especially because they're going to help Cherry Creek, those scrappy underdogs, lift them up. It's so nice that they are developing future talent for Cherry Creek High School. Oh, Dave Logan must be thrilled. All that being said, that's what I would do. And we can think about other scenarios under that if you want, but I don't have a better solution for GMs aside from hiring Peyton Manning and letting him do what he wants to do. If we want to talk about less than scenarios, I'm fine and happy to do that. But George Paton just doesn't get it. He hasn't got it for a couple of years with quarterbacks. It's 70% of his job. So I would say hasta la vista.
D-Mac, do you have a Peyton Manning in your cell phone like you have a bunch of other people? Because how do you even know he wants to do this?
Oh, he wants to do it. He wouldn't be coaching up Marshall's team this much if he didn't have interest. And at training camp, Peyton Manning just happens to be at training camp when the new ownership group is there. Well, isn't that convenient? No. He wants it. There's layers of life and success, and the top layer is ownership and winning a Super Bowl. Listen, it's fine to be a goofball and host the, country music, whatever things he's doing with Luke Bryan, or who knows who it is. I think it's Luke Bryan. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't care. He's having a good time being that sort of dude. But at the end of the day, the only reason they're doing Omaha Productions is to sell it and basically make $1 billion for generational wealth for his family. That's why they're doing Caesar Sportsbook. And if you notice how they've done it as a family. It's not just Peyton. he's insisted his dad be part of it, his brother Cooper be part of it, Eli be part of it. Manning could have just done all this stuff by himself, but no, they're doing this together for generational wealth for their family, which is awesome. It's given them something very significant to do as a family, but nothing would mean more to Peyton individually than ownership of a team. And he's not going to be able to flat out buy a team right now. However, Dave Tepper, who now owns outright the Carolina Panthers, started as a minority ownership interest in the Steelers. And then when the next team became available, he went there. So the only way Peyton is going to be a sole owner with his family of a NFL team is he has to have partial ownership at some point. That's how it works. So how do I know he's going to do it? He was born to do it, and he's been working towards it his whole life.
Sidebar, one of my friends actually does have Peyton Manning's number, and he didn't want to save it under Peyton Manning because if his phone got stolen or someone's looking at his text, he didn't want people to say, hey, you're texting Peyton Manning. So I was over at his house, and we were trying to brainstorm ways to put in his phone what he would put in. So if you're around Denver and you see a phone on the sidewalk and somebody's texting the sheriff, that is Peyton Manning and my buddy's phone. Also, I just looked this up. Peyton Manning as president of football operations, right? Russell Wilson here through 2026. Arch Manning is draft eligible in 2026. Let's go, D-Mac. Let's go. Ride the Manning train right back to a Super Bowl.
First of all, great job. I want to know how your friend got Peyton Manning's number, but we can get into that later. Archie Manning?
Yeah, that's a fun thought. Let's give that some time. The conflict of interest in that situation is a little bit absurd, but it's a fun thing to sort of.
Dan Hawkins, come on.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've done it.
But, at the end of the day, if it's not that, and that's the most radical approach, and that probably isn't going to happen. So what does happen if we want to just be a little bit more realistic? This is where George Paton probably does keep his job, as he'll have 4 more years after this year, and he's got to make some radical changes. But this is a really tough one, okay, guys? This is really, really tough. For him to move on to his 3rd head coach in 3 years is not an easy thing to swallow. And it's probably the last thing he'll ever get to do. He has already committed to his quarterback. You can't make much changes there. Getting 3 quarterbacks in 3 years. And by the way, at the end of the day, he was responsible for Vic Fangio, okay? I know it's a weird conflict of interest because Vic was on the hiring committee to hire George Paton. What a weird thing to do is to turn around and fire a guy who just hired you. But, whatever. With a lot of responsibility comes a lot of money. No, that's not right. Anyways, whatever. You sort of see what I'm going. It's a hard thing to do, but you make a lot of money to make hard decisions. And so moving on from Hackett would be just such a that would be such a deep blow. It would be unreal. So likely you will see other changes first, guys. You will. If they lose to Jacksonville, you're going to see a couple of assistant coaches gone, most likely Butch Barry, the offensive line coach. Yeah, you'll see something else. You won't see Hackett just gone right away. No, they'll do other things to try to fit Russell Wilson. And then we'll just see how things play out. But hey, no joke. Schedule doesn't get easier after the break. This was the easiest time they had. Even Carolina, who's giving everybody away, even Carolina won this week. So something's got to break here for the Broncos before they prove out to be the worst team in the league.
Yeah, Broncos offense is averaging, I think, 14 points per game or something like that now. Their high scoring game, the Broncos' highest scoring game this season was 23 points in that Las Vegas loss. The Broncos, if you attribute that 23-point game to the average score in the NFL this season, it is the average score in the NFL. So their highest scoring game this year is the average score in the NFL. So, yeah, it's just as bad as we think. And I think D-Mac's right. I don't think Hackett's out if they lose this week. I think you're going to come back with a bunch of new assistants is what's likely to happen.
All right, well, we're moving on. We got to tell you about this awesome opportunity with Redline Athletics Centennial, though you can enter and to win a free year-long membership, you guys, to this brand new state-of-the-art speed and agility training facility. the ultimate spot for your student athlete to take their performance to the next level. Ages 8 through 18, enter in today at denverfan.com. Again, a free year-long membership plus a $100 gas gift card, which I still want to get my hands on somehow. But we need to talk about the Denver Nuggets because the Denver –
wow. Wow, that's really something.
Cheers to that, guys. Okay, so we need to talk about this Denver Nuggets team because while we were all, I think, expecting them to start off very hot, come in as a number 1 seed, we're looking a couple months down. It's been ups and downs for sure. So they lose last night to the Portland Timbers. Trailblazers. Thank you. Thank you. But there has been somebody who's been actually very interesting considering we're sitting here talking about drafting people. Christian Braun.
It's spelled B-R-A-U-N.
Spelled Braun, but it's Brown.
Is it? All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Christian Braun. He's been surprising, I would say. I wouldn't have expected him to get so many minutes. He's able to put on, be out there for defense and offense. Like, he's just kind of the whole package, and it's just not what I expected coming from a rookie. So I want to get if that's just my take or if you both agree with that. And Jake, you're a huge Nuggets guy, so let's hear it.
Yeah, I watched the home opener with D-Mac, and D-Mac and I were consistently impressed with what Christian was doing on the floor in terms of hustle, being on the right spots in offense, having the confidence to shoot the ball. I don't think that Christian Braun is going to solve all of the Nuggets' issues, but the Nuggets' biggest issue the last few years has been spacing the floor and guarding the NBA's best guards on the perimeter. And Christian Braun has shown already that he's capable of doing both of those things. Can he do it consistently is going to be the big question, and it's the question for every rookie. But he has a championship pedigree. He won one at Kansas just a few months ago. He won a state title in high school. So he makes a lot of winning plays, and he plays with confidence. And the fact that Michael Malone of all people has not trusted rookies in the past, even Bones Highland wasn't in the rotation to start last season, is trusting Christian Braun at the end of games and in big moments says a lot about what Christian Braun is doing behind the scenes.
Super weird game last night. And by the way, there's a legal streaming service to watch the Nuggets because I am a Comcast customer and I'm on a 7-day trial right now. And I'm not going to lie, it's really cool. So the price tag is like, oh my God, it's so brutal. So, but I'm trying it out. We'll see what kind of commitment I want to make to it. But I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed watching the game last night where I don't normally get to watch the game. And the fact that I can actually watch it streaming on any device that I have anywhere, and they actually have like a DVR component to it so I can record all the games and watch them whenever I want. Guys, I'm not going to lie, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, buddy. I got to get you set up with League Pass and a VPN. That's the way to go.
Well, that would be great too, which I don't have, but if you want to send that my way, go ahead.
Yeah.
That being said, I did actually watch the game last night, and it was weird. Jokic, he almost had a super bizarre triple-double. In fact, he finished with 9 points, 9 assists, and 9 rebounds. And then he had like 5 fouls really early in the game.
Is that not what the Broncos have done this year at home? 9.
That's right. He had a Broncos line. That's a good one. I'll steal that on the air later. Jokic had a Broncos line, 9, 9, and 9. So that's actually pretty funny. I didn't think of that. And then the Trailblazers had this guy, Anthony Simons, who I had never heard of, but maybe we all should have. The guy was unconscious in the third quarter. He literally could not miss. His final point total wasn't that big. I think it was 29, but he had 22 in the third quarter. And they've got Dame Lillard. And the Nuggets gave up 80 points, guys, in the second half. And it's just mind-blowing how bad that is defensively. And Malone ripped the team again, justifiably so. I think there's an unbelievable amount of talent with the Nuggets. Unbelievable. But boy, oh boy, oh boy, if you cannot figure out defensively how to shut some teams down from scoring 120 points, you're going to lose way more games than you should for the talent that you have. And it was weird with Christian, by the way. He did not have a great game last night, although given the opportunity. But Bones Highland, who didn't have a great game against Oklahoma City, actually had a really good game against Portland. You know who was really off and probably the reason why we could not come all the way back? I hate to say it, but it was Jamal Murray, who was just kind of bad. I think it was something like 4 of 12. and he just looked kind of lethargic out there.
Tired.
Maybe, I hate to see it, and maybe he needs, a good chunk of the season to get back in the right type of shape. But boy, oh boy, you're coming down to the wire. And listen, guys, if it's 7 minutes to go and you're down by 9 points or something, or 12 points, you can't just give away mid-range jumpers. You got to make those shots. And like they were saying on the broadcast last night, you can't just give up, threes for twos. And that was what was happening with the Nuggets. So you got to hit him, and it's going to be on Jamal. As well regarded as he is, he's got to be that player. And right now he's just not. It's great to have him back, and I'm going to give him plenty of grace to get up to speed. But right now, guys, it's a little bit of an issue. You're defensively not playing that well, and one of the players you're really counting on, he's just not up to speed.
Yeah. Anthony Simons right here on my fantasy team.
Oh my God! Wow.
He was great last year when Damian Lillard was hurt with the core injury. And people might be sitting here saying 2-2 start. That's rough. Nuggets off to a bad start to the season. I'm not surprised by this, honestly, that much, because it was just going to take Jamal Murray some time to get up to speed. Honestly, Utah looks really good, and they have a lot of talent. We just thought their organization wants to tank. Their team does not want to tank, and they've got good players. Portland also is a team that retooled and is going to make a run at the playoffs this year. So losing to either of those teams on the road, not that bad of losses, especially early on when Jamal.
Yeah, but Jake, it's the way they lost.
And I agree with you. And it's Jamal Murray looking not good, but Nikola Jokic said day one before the season, hey, Jamal's going to suck for 20 games. Anything you get out of Jamal that's not sucking for the first 20 games, I'm taking as a positive, because it's going to take him some time to get up to speed. We're talking about Christian Brown and stuff. We're just looking at things because it's October basketball. None of this is really that meaningful unless someone gets hurt. We're just kind of finding out what this Nuggets team has. 120 points a night isn't going to fly on defense. And Michael Malone is going to be redder than somebody who sat outside all day in Breckenridge. I sound like James Marilat with the similes now.
Listen, I'm here for the ripping of your team if they're not playing up to your expectations after what we've seen with Hackett, where it was very smiles and everything's okay. I will say the one shining star that we have to talk about again, I think we actually talked about this last week, Mr. Consistent Aaron Gordon. How about his game last night?
He was the best player on the court for the Nuggets. Got a lot of easier baskets because he was fed down low. But Aaron Gordon is just nails. He could start for every team in the NBA. The fact that he can play whatever role you need him to on any night is just an incredible luxury. Not to mention, he's just a cool dude, and he owns a man cave warehouse. So no, AG is amazing, and he's next to Jokic. He's my second favorite player on the Nuggets.
Came to the game wearing overalls. I'll always respect that.
You got to respect it. All right, let's get into some trivia now, you guys. We're going to the 25th anniversary of the Super Bowl team. I'm not going to say which one because that's part of the trivia, but we are doing some trivia on them. Let me pull up my thing. Okay, so Kahoot.it, everybody for hanging out with us. I see a lot of familiar names in the comments. Thanks for hanging. Join. It's 638-7020. That's the game pin. We're going to give people a little bit of time to jump in here. The Nuggets will take on the Lakers, though, on Wednesday night. I believe the Lakers have not won a game yet, correct?
Yes. And Russell Westbrook is shooting 8% from the three-point range this year. So far.
Listen, I'll tell you this. If you can't beat the Lakers easily, you're going to have some issues, okay? This is a bad team. You got them at home. The travel shouldn't be that big of a deal. You got to whoop up on the Lakers on Wednesday night.
Oh, gosh. Ugh. It's so interesting because I'm going to get some hate for this, but I do think that the longer LeBron plays with bad teams and proves that he's not superhuman, the worse it gets for him. I know people are going to come at me and they're going to be like,
what does that look like? What's worse for LeBron James, Rachel? What does that even mean?
I mean, think about it. Before he went to the Lakers, LeBron James was like this superhuman. Everyone thought trust me, he's still a very good basketball player, but everyone thought he was the best basketball player in the entire world. He could carry any team to a championship. it's just becoming not the case. So it's interesting.
Well, you're talking about legacy conversations, right, Rachel?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is he the best? Well, clearly he's not the best player of all time, and you'd probably take Kobe Bryant over him. You certainly would take Michael Jordan over LeBron. Are you making an argument he's not in the top 10 if he has a poor year? Because I think that's where you'd have to start.
He still is, but I just think that the longer, like if he would play another 5 years and nothing with the Lakers happens, I think it goes down. Jake, I'm curious your opinion.
I don't think anything LeBron can do at this point really hurts his legacy. I think moving to LA was a mistake. I think trying to
won a
build
championship.
Yeah, and that's the funny part is the Lakers have won a championship, and people will say his legacy in LA has been not so good. His 4 or 5 years in LA have not been good. So it's funny that they just have that standard and LeBron has that standard, but he has that standard because, in my opinion, he's the second greatest basketball player of all time, if not third. I mean, it's wow. Michael Jordan, Kareem, LeBron, just throw it whichever
way.
You
would take LeBron over Kobe?
No question. I'd take Dwayne Wade over Kobe. Dwayne Wade was a better player in his
Wow.
But, I think with LeBron is if LeBron in 4 years from now is still in the league and doing what Paul Millsap did 3 years ago, where he's still 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists a night, and he's playing with his kid, that's still a really productive NBA player. No one expects him to be the greatest player in the NBA.
When you're at that level, I love Carmelo Anthony. He's my guy. And he was okay to be a role player. And is Carmelo still in the league? I think he is somewhere, right?
No,
he's not playing anywhere
right now.
So, but Carmelo never got to the level of LeBron. He never did. When you get to that level, guys, you just can't become a role player. That just, it doesn't work like that. And
I'm not suggesting he becomes a role player. I'm suggesting that he's already kind of a gadget / role player if this Lakers team ought to function the way that it was designed to in the best hope in mind. He's the second best player to Anthony Davis on that team if they're all healthy and playing the way that they should be.
Yeah, but
this is a whole conversation. I want to make sure that we get everybody out of here on time. So we're going to start our trivia. Maybe we continue this conversation later. Okie dokie. Let's do it. Also, I'm still over this Halloween theme. I'm over it. All right. Dun, 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 dun. The Broncos beat what team in Super Bowl 32?
Aha. That one. They were big underdogs in that game, too. I think they were like 13-point underdogs.
Oh, geez.
Something ridiculous like that.
Okay. The Green Bay Packers. Correcte mundo. Let's go.
How do you get that one wrong?
Well, you could be not alive for it, like.
Oh, my God, Jake. Seriously.
Well,
there is the whole, I got to be alive to know
32.
What was, oh, no. It was one. Oh boy. All right. Gosh darn it. It was one score for sure. Hey, I'm going to get this one wrong, I think.
31-24.
Dang it. Stupid.
That was the final score. Let's go. Danger Less Russ coming in second. CSU Rams moving up too. Okay. Next one. Green Bay was the defending Super Bowl champion. True or false?
Do you know who they beat in that game? Oh, I guess I gave that away right there. That was
the Atlanta Falcons?
No, they beat the New England Patriots, and I was at the time still a Patriots sort of fan. But
Danger Less Russ. Okay, Giovanni though moving up. D-Max in third. Okay,
I got one wrong too.
Okay, true or false? The Broncos became the second wildcard team to win the Super Bowl. True or false?
He's always like, I'm like Will on this. It seems like this would be a weird thing to make up.
Yes,
you never know.
No, they were the third team to win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Third wildcard team.
Correct. They were the second wildcard team to win the Super Bowl. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Let's ride.
Pressure's on.
Seriously. Okay. Next one. Oh. How many touchdowns did Terrell Davis have in Super Bowl 32? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Oh my gosh. I think I got this wrong.
The answer
I got it wrong.
3.
3. Wow. Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, let's go.
Let's go.
True or false? The Broncos unveiled new uniforms after they won Super Bowl 32.
It was before.
Jake, jump.
I'm asking myself, it was before or after?
Oh my Lord! Did you not see the game on Sunday?
I got it right. See, I'm just throwing a little feeler out there because I said that seems like a weird thing to make up earlier. Got it.
That was the big blue. The big blue jerseys were the thing.
Okay, Let's Go is giving Jake a run and D-Mac a run for their money. So let's see. An estimated blank fans gathered in downtown Denver for the parade. Was it 400,000, 650,000, 900,000, or 1.2 million?
Gosh, that's a lot of people. Either way.
Indeed.
You got to understand how starved this city was, man. I
mean,
it was the first championship.
I'm trying to think of a sporting venue that would even fit.
Oh, I got it wrong. It wasn't that exciting, I guess.
650,000.
Oh my God. No.
Jake moving up. Okay. I think we have one more. Yep. Last question. Who won MVP in Super Bowl 32?
All right.
John Elway, Terrell Davis, Rod Smith, or our very own Mark Schlereth?
That's funny. Elway kind of stunk in that game, actually. If you looked at his numbers, he was much better in Super Bowl 33 against the Falcons the next year. TV was the man.
Oh, let's find out.
Chap. Third.
Okay.
Oh! Let's go. Let's go. Oh.
Dangerous Russ.
Let's
go came in at 4. CSU Rams came in at 5. Okay. Troy says I finally won. Woo-hoo.
Congratulations, Troy.
Dangerous Russ. Okay.
Hey, by the way, what does Troy win for winning?
Troy, you get a huge shout out, my man. You're always on. We appreciate you. Congratulations. We should get prizes somehow.
I love that people play a game that there's no prizes for. It's just
you get bragging rights, all right?
It's just for pride. Right. We don't even post the winners anywhere. Nothing. You win nothing and you're happy. You win nothing.
Troy, tag us on Twitter if you have Twitter. Tag us on Twitter and we'll retweet you because you are our winner. So congratulations. I thought Dangerless Russ was Jake. So
no.
Shout out to you, Troy.
We've been doing this since April, I think. Troy's the first non-fan staff member to win a Tuesday trivia.
Way to go, Troy.
Yeah, way to go, Troy. All right, everyone. That's going to do it. Tea time on a Tuesday. We're back tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Come hang out with us. We'll see everybody then. Peace out. Woo-woo.